Okay, so let's move to the second presenter. I would like to invite Dr. Adelia Dwidarma Nataadmadja. Okay, so please share your PowerPoint and the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss Yuriana. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning, Miss Yuriana and the other distinguished speakers. And also good morning to all the participants here. And when I was asked to participate in this talk, I was women in civil engineering. I was asking, what should I talk about? Because it felt like a very intimidating industry, as it's a very male dominated. But as I reflect through what was happening during my journey so far, I decided to maybe share a little bit of what was happening during my study and then career. So let me share my PowerPoint. Okay. Um, is is it on? Can everybody see my PowerPoint?
Yes, but you
Yes.
have to slideshow it.
Yeah. Okay, full screen. Okay. Right. Okay. So is it all right? Okay, all right. So I I wrote a title building more than infrastructure because maybe um Miss Yurina has already introduced me and my background, but then in my personal life as well, who I am. So I'm a civil engineer. I am also a lecturer and a researcher because I'm still doing a research, and a pavement engineering specialist. Well, that's because I took PhD on it, and so well, it kind of carried on until now. So, and then I'm also a mother of three. I think this is part that cannot be separated from us as a female, whether we are married or not, whether we have a family or not. But then, in my case, I have three children, which who takes a lot of time and effort too. But then, yeah. So today I'm just gonna share a little bit about the role that I'm living it right now, because as a female civil engineer, becoming a mother and having a family does not makes me just an engineer or just a mother. And I have lived in three different cities practically. And I grew up in Jakarta, and then I moved to New Zealand for my study, and I lived there for about 9.5 to 10 years. And I was also in France for a research project about 6 to 7 months. So maybe today I will share stories here and there, what I have been experiences in those countries, and of course in Indonesia as well, as I've been working in BINUS as a lecturer. So maybe first taking back to 2007 when I was started my first year degree in engineering. So life as a civil engineering student, I was surrounded more men than women. As Bu Ayomi said, about 20% were females, and I was really, really hoping that there would be sorry more women in the industry, and it's happening. In BINUS, I'm looking at more female students, which I think that's really great, because don't be intimidated. And if there's a trial class, or like there's a marketing or promotion events for civil engineering in BINUS, I always tell the female students, don't be afraid of the civil engineering degree, because like we have quite a privilege. And I saw there are male participants as well. There are some male participants as well. And even though we are surrounded by more women than women, just a little perk about it, we got lots of helps. We got lots of helps, and then like all the women must be like the women don't carry the heavy stuff. We'll do it. So I was like, oh yeah, thank you. And I think that's the perks of being women in civil engineering, because of our minority in terms of numbers. Okay, but then in terms of group, when I end up in group projects. Maybe I was the only female in five, and so I'm dealing with four guys. And well, we are being tested. I was being tested, not directly, but then in terms of our intelligence, in terms of our capacity. So we have to prove that like we are as capable as them. And luckily, when I was a civil engineering student, it didn't. They like all the males are very open. They didn't like discriminate. Oh, you're just a girl. You don't belong to us. No, they don't do that. So, and I think that's a great outcome as well. Because even though like there are perks being women in the male dominated, but then we also need to be we also need to keep up with them, so we don't be like, oh, I'm a girl, I don't do that, like we can't do that, because like it's a male dominated industry, so we need to keep up with them. And then late nights before deadlines, all of us do that, males or females, we do that. And then after 4 years, you found out that you are stronger than you thought. Yeah, you can do lots of things. And then one of the course that I must took as a civil engineer student, well, not civil engineer only, but all the engineering students in Auckland University needed to take this class. And this is a workshop class. I was shocked when I got in. I had to drill hole. I have never done that in my whole life. Well, I did that. So yeah, I had to drill hole by myself, and I got tested on it. So like you are being observed whether you can do it or not. And I had to do welding. I had to perform different. I think there were 2 or 3 kinds of different welding, and I had to be able to do that. So like wearing all those glasses, wearing all those lab coats. All the females and the males, they have to do it all. So yeah, I think that was like quite interesting. So it's, even though it's kind of male dominated degree, but then you can keep up, you can do it as well. So and in BINUS we don't have a workshop course like that. But then I think it was interesting. So yes, now I can drill a hole, I can cut timber, I can weld. So yeah, I think that's quite interesting. Um, okay, sorry, I think next, and then proceed on. Sorry, before sorry. Before that, I finished my bachelor degree, and then I moved on a PhD, and then that's when I moved to France for about 6 to 7 months to do some of my research. And again, it was a male-dominated industry. It's a research labs full of males. Okay, and then well, being used to like surrounded by males, so yeah, I took it quite. I think I went quite well, and they didn't like they didn't discriminate us. And then like sometimes we might feel that, oh, being a female in a male dominated industry, we might feel small, we might feel inferior, but then don't be, because the males don't feel that. They are very welcoming, and they are very happy that we are there, especially if we are contributing. Okay, and then fast forward, I went back to Indonesia, I worked, I got married, and I had family. There was one day I went for a site visit. It's for a research purposes. It was a full-on day research site visit. It was, I went in the morning, and then I got home by night. But then at that time, I think my first child was only about not even a year, not even a year old. So at that time, I was still nursing. I was still nursing, and then there was no private room available. So I was wondering whether I should put this story on. But then I think this was don't be afraid. Like maybe don't be afraid of like you are a researcher, but then you have your own other responsibility as a mother too. And so there was no private room, so I had to pump breast milk in the car. So well, in when I was in New Zealand, they have a privilege of having a maternity leave for 1 year. So they can stay at home and then, just take care of your child. But then in Indonesia and in Asia, I think we don't have that privilege, unfortunately. But then that's okay, like we still have to go on, like the life goes on. So yeah, I think that's kind of that experience. It's kind of put me off. Yes, it is. It was put me off. But then, well, I had to do what I have to do. So yeah. So that's one story that happened to me. Yes, but then still, I still love civil engineering. I think the work is great, and I think all the males were supporting too. Okay, and then well, when we got to becoming a career woman, when we got to like become a working mom, the question that women always get is, how do you do that? How do you combine your career and family? How do you leave your children behind? Like how about your children? How about your career? How about your ambition? Like um maybe like as a female, like we do have a lot of roles. We cannot just like putting our career first and then forgetting about the children at home, for example. Like, but then I think everything can be balanced. It's about time management. Okay, and then I think all women are very good in time management, because like in a household we need to take care of the children, we need to take care of the husband, we need to take care of the house, we need to take care of ourselves too, and the career, like. So I think the question assumes that we must sacrifice one identity. So like if you want to work, you just work, forget about your family. But it doesn't happen that way. Like you don't have to choose one. You can still publish research, you can still work, and then you can still prepare lunches for your kids. You can still supervise your thesis for your undergrad, but you can still supervise bedtime for your kids. So I think over the years, I also reflect that your ambition does not need to cancel your motherhood. So that's the other side of you. So sometimes, like, the female might think, oh, like being in this industry is probably hard for me to become a mother. It's probably hard for me to become a family, to have a family. Well, no, it's not. Your competence does not cancel your femininity. Okay, so I think that's what I reflect. So what's happening? So we can do it. It's about time management. Um, and then now I'm an academia. I'm a lecturer. Well, as well, not competitive as in within colleagues, but then it's competitive as in we need to publish research. We need to be up to date with our knowledge, and it's output driven. As in we need, like we still have um KPI. We still need to produce outputs. And well, it's a long-term intellectual pressure as in you're in academia, so you need to keep up with what's happening. You need to update your knowledge, and that takes time. That takes time. But then it also brings you an invisible emotional load. And this is talking from my experience. Probably it's what's happening with other people are different. But then this is what I experienced: an invisible emotional load that when you take care of your kids, you're still thinking about, oh, I haven't revised this paper. Oh, I haven't finished marking. Oh, I haven't finished this. I haven't finished that. And that's what's happening. But then the challenge is not the capability of you performing, like really, really great at one time. But then at the other time, you are just gone, like it is about sustainability. So how about how you keep going for years and years and years, because it's not just about 1-2 months. It's about year long pressure. And as Ibu Ayomi already said as well, what women bring into civil engineering. So we are usually detail oriented in research design, and we have more passion in long-term impact and strong communication and mentoring. So I think female and males, they both need to have this. But then in terms of multitasking, sometimes women are better than men. In terms of multitasking, doing a lot of things at once, like about risk awareness, we probably more a risk, not a risk seeker. We are probably not a risk taker, so we're probably more aware of the risk, and we're probably more thinking about the long term So this is a strategic skills that keeps projects alive and then it keeps the career alive. And so in terms of being academia is not a race. So, like there are some academic ranks that we need to look for, but then again, it's not a race. We are competing with ourselves, not with others. And the credibility builds in layers. So it takes time for you to be credible, and reputation compounds over time. So as you go, you build your reputation. So again, it's not just 1 year or 2 years, it's probably 10 years work. And just like infrastructure, credibility is built layer by layer. And for those who are in my highway engineering class, the pavement is built by layers. And I think that was my experience, and that's what I have got so far. I have I might change in the future, but I don't know yet. But then that's what has been shaping me for now. And if you are starting your journey, in your bachelor degree, you're in your year 2, year 3, you are soon starting your career. From me, master the fundamentals deeply. Make use of your time studying in university. Make sure that you attend all the seminars and all the, like events that can add knowledge and add value to yourself. Yeah. And I think that's very important because that's what makes you become credible. And speak up even if your voice shakes, as in even if you are feel intimidated because like all the managers and all the supervisors, they were all males. Well, speak up if you are correct. Ask if you have questions. But then first, build competence before confidence. If you can be confident if you are competent, I think that's what I have been learning as well. So in some things that I probably not competent enough, I probably have not very confident. I wouldn't be very confident to say something. But then if you are competent in that field, you will feel confident. So that's what I said. Make use of your time to study. Now you like you you haven't had maybe you have big family or not, I don't know, but then um like you probably still focusing on yourself. Build the competence, use your time wisely, and protect your intellectual integrity. So like don't start cheating, don't start copying other people's work, don't start like copying your friend's work. It builds habit. Just be careful, it builds habit. So make sure like you do the work that you're supposed to do, and build a strong support system. You have friends, you have relations, you have families. That's all what makes you becomes you, and you can be strong because of that. So remember, confidence follows after competence. So I think as the closing remark, so you can build knowledge and still build a family. So you can be a lecturer, you can be a contractor, you can be a builder, you can be whatever you want, and still on the other side you still have a family. And infrastructure shapes city, education shapes the people who build them as well. So I think that's a privilege of me still being in Venus and trying to share the knowledge. So because like I'm trying to share the knowledge for the young generations. And yes, don't choose one identity, expand it, because we can be as a lot of roles. Even though we are female, sometimes the responsibility is, it seems harder for us because we have so many things to do, but then yes, we can do it all. I think the key is time management. So I think that's from me. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adelia.